Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the athletic program at Tennessee State University with focus on the football program, 1999. And of course, we're fortunate to have with us this morning to talk about the football program at Tennessee State University 1999, Coach Lawrence Cole. And of course, Coach Cole, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Good morning there.
Coach Cole, you know, we've had you on this show dealing with the football program at Tennessee State University from the very first year that you came to Tennessee State University. And as a matter of fact, I think we've got a storage of several of the shows that we've done between your coming and now. And I think on each one of them, we try to get from you some information about your background, your education, and some of the other things that many of your fans are interested in, certainly. And certainly because you are now the OVC, Ohio Valley Conference champ, most people are interested in you, your background, and some of the things that were important in terms of bringing you to Tennessee State University and some of the things that are important in terms of what you plan on doing at Tennessee State University. And so from that perspective, let's talk about your background, your education, your experiences, and some of the things, and then we'll get into the football program at Tennessee State University 1999.
Well, I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio. Mother and father's name is Timothy and Ruby Cole. I have 9 brothers. I'm the 4th oldest, and I have one of my younger brothers who coached with me here at Tennessee State right now. Went to Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, and after graduating from Dunbar High School, I went to the University of Nebraska, where I played my college football. And after leaving there, you know, I had a little adventure into professional football, and I had an experience at the New York Jets and a tryout with the Denver Broncos, and then went in the World Football League. And from there, I was always going back to University of Nebraska, you know, just working on coaching because I wanted to be a coach. And eventually, that opportunity came when I graduated in 1980, and I ended up getting my first job at New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I started there, and then from there I went to Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, and then, you know, things was going great for me, and then I had an opportunity to go to Kansas State University, which is in the same conference that University of Nebraska was in, so it started even getting better for me, and then after leaving there, I went to University of Wisconsin in the Big Ten. And then, you know, I changed positions, you know, sometimes that always help you when you coach on offense and defense. So as I was moving along, I was getting great experience from being on both sides of football. And then from the University of Wisconsin, I went to Toledo, and then I coached on offense again. And my first opportunity to, you know, to cross over was to go to Morgan State, which is another historic black institution where I coached as an assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. And from there, I went to Eastern Michigan, and then from Eastern Michigan, I went to University of Cincinnati, where I was assistant head coach. So that gave me a lot of experience, you know, in coaching experience. And then I had the opportunity to, you know, to apply for the job here at Tennessee State in 1996. And I always remember it, January the 16th, when I received the job here at Tennessee State University.
And in a real sense, the rest is history. In a real sense, is it not, Coach Cole? And I think that in a real sense, it is, the rest is history, because I think since 1996, you've taken the Tennessee State University football team, and you've won the Ohio Valley Conference championship, and of course, that's the first time that Tennessee State University has won such a prestigious award. And let's have you, since we've talked about so many things with you on this show, let's have you to sort of reflect on coming to Tennessee State University in 1996 and finding your football team and the coaching situation and whatnot, and some of, in a real sense, your trials and tribulations between 1996 and when you were successful last year. And then we'll talk about some of the other aspects of the program.
Right. I mean, I could just always go back. Somehow I think it was just, this job was made for me, and how I ended up coming up on the interview, because, you know, they first had the process. I wasn't one of the 5 guys was chosen to come in for an interview, and one of the guys dropped out, and then Howard Gentry contacted me and wanted me to come in right away, and I kind of called him back and said, you know, that I'm not prepared, but what I did is I just stayed up all night, and I prepared myself to come in, and then I ended up flying in on that Friday and interviewed that Friday and went back, and Dr. Hefner called me on that Saturday and then offered me the job. And when he offered me the job, I just jumped on the plane and left everything I had back in Cincinnati. And I came down, and, you know, Sometime when you come on the interview, you don't look at everything. And then my eyes were wide open, and this was my opportunity to become a head coach. So I really didn't investigate certain things. But once I got in the program, it was in a pretty bad situation as far as the guys graduating from school, guys eligible. A lot of things were wrong in the program. So, my work was cut out for me, and I just rolled up my sleeves, and from there, that was my focus point, was the 17 guys that were ineligible, and we only ended up losing one of those guys. So we cracked the whip right then and there and just cleaned up a lot of things that was in the program. And now, I look back on it, all of it was worth, doing what I did when I first got here.
And so when you came here in 1996, you found that you had 17 ineligible players, and you were able to work in a situation where, in the end, there was only one of those players ineligible, and that was the beginning, in a real sense, of what you've tried to accomplish in terms of dealing with eligibility. Is that what we're saying?
Right, yeah. It just kind of, because it was just kind of odd, to come into a program and those many guys were ineligible, and I mean, I've been in a lot of schools, which I just talked about. I've been in a lot of universities, but that was kind of odd. And I knew if I wanted a football program, I had to spend the time to get these guys eligible and going in the right direction. And it ended up working out. I mean, I spent numerous hours, at night just going through paperwork and, getting the strength coaching. And I think that was very important about getting the strength coaching in the program, because that's a major part of it. But number one thing was me, is to get those guys eligible and get them on the right track. And now I look at it now, since I've been there, we probably done graduated almost 30 kids in the 3 years I've been there. So it was all been worth it.
As a matter of fact, in 1996, there was some question in terms of the number of students who were graduating in the athletic department, period, not only on the football team. Is that correct?
Yeah, we had a low percentage graduation rate with the athletes, and I think that was one of my main objectives coming here, and I think that kind of helped me on the interview, because I really stress academics, because that's what a young man comes to school for, is getting academics. And if he excels in athletics, then that's fine. But I always look at the long haul. You're not going to be able to run fast and jump high all your life, so you have to have something to fall back on, and that's what I really stress to all our athletes at Tennessee State University.
And so you don't have any questions in terms of with this new OVC team, and of course the OVC championship team last year, there was no question in terms of eligibility of any of those athletes, and certainly none in terms of the anticipated season. Is that what we're saying?
Right. Once you come in, you set the groundwork, and that's what we eventually did. I didn't make a curve for no one. That was coaches. Anybody who was involved with the program, they knew what exactly direction we was going. So, when the kids see the coaches caring about them, and we walked around and went to classes, and we class checked. We made sure they got up and went to classes. We had open communication with the professors. If a young man didn't come to class or didn't turn his assignment in, they would let us know, and we'll get them up at 5:30 in the morning and run them. We call that Dawn Patrol. So, we really cracked that whip that first year in 1996.
Coach, we're getting ready for the first time to come up on our first commercial break. But I think it is quite interesting in terms of the academics that you've had to deal with, and I think that in a real sense that the athletes are now required to have a higher entrance standard than students outside of the athletic areas. Is that correct? Yeah,
it's a little bit different. There's a lot of things required for an athlete, to get in school. I think it's been a real big fight with the NCAA about the test scores, and why does the test scores have to do anything with an athlete competing. But we have to meet a percentage, so it's no more coming into school and just taking this course, that course, this course. So once a student athlete comes into Tennessee State University, you have to end up meeting a percentage.
And of course, Coach, let us take this first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this short commercial break. Thank you and welcome back. We're talking to Coach Lawrence Cole, the head football coach at Tennessee State University, and the topic is the Tennessee State University football program 1999. And of course, Coach Cole, before we had our commercial break, we were talking about some of the academic concerns that you had to deal with at Tennessee State University in terms of your football team from 1996. But now let's talk about the upcoming season. This is 1999, and of course you're coming off of the OVC championship of last year, and you're going into a new stadium, the Titans Stadium, and so let's talk about that. What's the attitude, your attitude, and what's the team's attitude, and what are some of the things that you see and what's going on now?
Well, I think a lot of our teammates are still going from the 1998 football season, but we got to turn around. We got to bring ourselves back to reality, and I think that's going to be the main focus point. And as coaches, we got to work on that too as ourselves, because it almost just seems like it was a dream not to come true the way that 1998 season went, how we started off, we lost, then we won, then we lost, and then all of a sudden we went 8 straight, and then we beat Eastern Kentucky, a team that Tennessee State's never beaten before. But I think our guys, they're working very hard right now during the summer, and I think they realize, what's at stake. When you're on top of the mountain, everybody's going to be, trying to chip at the mountain to get you down, and I think our guys understand that.
And so you think that they're ready. Now, what are some of do you have any standouts or some of the things that you think, some of the individual players that you'd like to talk about? And I do understand your attitude of pulling individuals out and et cetera,
right.
how you don't like to do that. But nevertheless, there are some people that I believe that you ought to have some idea in terms of what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm always like that. But, deep in myself, I know that God gives certain guys on the teams, special ability. And, like our quarterback, Leon Murray, I mean, he's just been a blessing that we had him. And in the off season, he went through surgery, so he's really just recovering from shoulder surgery in his throwing arm. So hopefully, everything works out well for him. The one good thing about our team coming back is our offensive line is all intact. So we have our whole offensive line back intact, and sometimes that's the major important part. What we have to do is really find us some running backs that can step up and replace DeJuan Marshall and Davenport. Yeah, so, and then we look at our wideouts. We have Corey Sullivan back, who's, been, since we came here, been a very, very good receiver. And we have to find someone to replace Tyrone Butterfield, which was an All-American great receiver for us. And you go down and you look at Ike Boone. Ike been an academic All-American, been a 3-year starter for us. McNutt is another guy has great potential. Mike Thompson at tackle, and can't say anything about Benny Anderson, a guy who started off last season, then broke his foot, and then came back at mid-season and came back and played. So on our offense, it's kind of like really put together. You look on the defensive side of football, we got to replace 2 great football players, and that's Jarek Hillary and Daryl Hinton, the 2 safeties, 2 older guys. And then you look in our defensive line, you're talking about Eric McCray, which we lost. And what we do have, we have Lamar Carter back, who's been a OVC player, all-conference, all-American since I've been here, the 3 years I've been here. And we switched him to free safety, but we're probably going to end up switching him back to outside linebacker and hoping we can get somebody to fill in those voids.
And of course, your first game will be in the stadium.
Right.
And this will give you an opportunity to play before a large crowd. But, Coach, you've played since you came to Tennessee State University before a large number of people on many, many occasions. Let's talk about that, because certainly this new stadium will give you a new opportunity to have a larger crowd here. But talk about some of the other exploits that you've done in terms of your attendance.
Well, since we came here, I think when we came with a lot of emotion, a lot of curiosity. Everybody, really wanted to, see what this young coach was all about. And the only thing I asked was to give me an opportunity, and I think the people here in Nashville did that. And, I think about our first homecoming game. We set the highest attendance ever in a homecoming football game at Hale Stadium. And then we went down to Memphis and had the largest crowd they have ever had in that Memphis stadium. And at one time, we had the second largest crowd in the state of Tennessee last year. I mean, the Volunteers were first, and then we were number 2, and then the Orioles and Vanderbilt and the rest of them was fighting out the lower half. So, it has brought a lot of excitement here, and I'm looking forward to the same thing to happen when we move into the new stadium downtown.
And so what is the attitude that some of the players have in reference to that new stadium?
Well, I think they're pretty excited, because you always can say how many 1AA football teams play in an NFL football stadium. You know, that's something that we really pushed during recruiting. We took our recruits over there, and everybody's, you know, looking and just saying, wow, you know. And, you know, when you play in an NFL stadium, you know that they'll be there kind of watching you. And, you know, a lot of our guys' dreams is to play in the NFL. So, you know, it gives the oils firsthand and look at our kids.
You know, Coach, you talk about recruiting. Now, this is really about your first real recruiting team, is it not? Because now you've been somewhat, I guess, skilled or fortunate to have been able to win an OVC championship without having had an opportunity really to recruit most. Why don't you talk about that? That's an unusual kind of situation.
Yeah, you know, I came in an unusual situation. You think before I took the job, we had 3 different coaches here in the last 10 years, and we still had Coach Gillum kids, Coach Bill Thomas kids, and Coach Davis kids. So I had 3 different types of athletes into the program, and then when we came in, that was a 4th different kid. So every coach has different attitude, what he looks for in a recruit. So, you know, that's something that I had to form the rest of the 3 groups into what I believe in, and that was a hard job. But we ended up getting them turned around here, and like you say, we did it in 3 and did a remarkable turnaround. I mean, we ended up had to get rid of football players and bring new ones in, but this is the typical year of LCole's class right now, the 4th year that we're coming in now. And now I'll really see, you know, well, what have I done as far as recruiting-wise?
Well, and of course, coming off of the OVC championship, Coach, I would imagine that there are many opportunities that are now available to Tennessee State University's football program simply because of being victorious in the Ohio Valley Conference. And as you've indicated earlier, many of the teams that you defeated are now especially looking to play you again this year, and certainly they want to burst your bubble in a real sense. Now your first team, what's that first game? What's your first game?
Our first game is Alabama State. Ron Dickerson, who was the head coach at Temple University now, he's the head coach at Alabama State. So that would be our first game on September the 5th.
Okay, very good. And of course, Coach, let us take this second commercial break, after which we'll come back and talk about some of the more recent developments in the athletic program at Tennessee State University. Thank you and welcome back to this final segment of the show today. We're talking to Coach Lawrence Cole, the head coach at Tennessee State University. And of course, Coach Cole, during this last segment, let's talk about some of the more recent developments in reference to the football program at Tennessee State University. And more specifically, let's have you to give us some information in reference to the NCAA sanctions that were imposed upon Tennessee State University quite recently, and the impact that you think that those sanctions might have on Tennessee State University and on your football program and your ability to be able to do what you have to do to repeat the OVC championship.
You know, it's always sometimes you have to pay a price, you know, to be a winner. And, you know, most times to be a winner, then there's always sour grapes on your program. And, you know, like you say, how we turned it around, you know, we had to make some major decisions in the program. And, you know, we had some unhappy campers in our camp and made some accusations to our program, which, you know, we still stands right now that none of that's true. But, you know, as far as impact on the program, I think, you know, if you're an honest person and you've seen what has taken place at Tennessee State and what kind of program, you know, since I've been here, then I think that's the reason why we're still successful. And I think we will always be successful, you know, just by what we're doing over there. We're not doing anything that any other school is not doing. You
know, Coach, you know, also I think quite recently you had a football camp. Let's talk about that, because I think that before we talk about the schedule and perhaps some of the other things that you like to talk about, but I think that that's important, and I think it says quite a bit in terms of what you and members of the football team are doing in terms of trying to reach out to the younger people. Let's talk about that free clinic that you are offering at Tennessee State University.
Well, we had, our coaches, we got together and we just figured, you know, since I came here, I felt that the community is Tennessee State University, and I still believe that you have to give back out to the community in just the way I've learned. I said, if you don't teach young men or students at Tennessee State how to give back, then they don't know, how to do it. But what we end up doing this year, we started a free camp. We're just charging $5. Kids get some free T-shirts. We give them meals. We give them free instructions about Tennessee State. We take them around the campus, see how pretty the campus is, and then what we're going to end up doing is give them a tour down to the new stadium. So what we're trying to do is put into their mind right now as a youngster, because sometimes a youngster adventures something big like Tennessee State University. When he becomes a senior, then, when I end up going out there and recruiting, he always going to say, boy, I remember Coach Cole. So we're trying to plant that seed real young in these kids' mind. But also, we just want to, be positive role models for them. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing this right now, and let them guys meet our players on our football team.
Let's talk about, over the last 3 minutes that we have here, let's talk about your schedule and some of the things that you see from your vantage point in reference to that schedule and some of the opportunities. We've got about 3 minutes. Let's give you that time to do that.
Well, we're going to have, a pretty rough schedule. Since I've been here and some of the other previous coaches, it's another goal of mine and the team is that we haven't won our first game in, I think, 10 years. We haven't. So that's one of our primary goals this year to start the season is win the first game. And, we got to go back down to play Jackson State. I'm quite sure they'll be ready. They always say first time is a fluke, and now we got to turn around. We got to prove that to them. And then the other one is Florida A&M. You go in our office, you always see this big picture I have in the wall, and it says when you come to Tennessee State, the first thing is to get a degree. Second thing is to beat Florida A&M, and then it goes on down to win the conference and win the national championship. So our goal too is to beat Florida A&M this year.
And so you're looking with great anticipation to that Florida A&M game, and the belief that you're going to overcome Florida A&M this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so many times we've been right in the ball game, and then we just seems like we just give it away. And hopefully this year that it's going to be different with our kids.
Coach, this last minute and a half we have here, let us thank you before giving you an opportunity to make a final comment. Let us thank you for coming by and giving us that information. I think that in a real sense, we've had you, as we said earlier, each year since 1996, since you first came to Tennessee State University, and we can see the progression in the athletic program and in the football program. To start off where you started in '96 and to be successful in less than 3 years is really a tremendous accomplishment on your part, and your ability to be able to do that using a team that has been, the teams that were recruited by 3 or 4 other individuals also say something about your skill and your ability to be able to do what you've been able to do. And I think in a real sense, the camp that you've provided has given an opportunity for the community, because I think one of the things that you've always stressed has been the ability for your players to be present among the young people and et cetera. And I think that your camp, which you say is not a free camp because you're charging $5, but I think that camp, whatever you call it. And so over the last 30 seconds, let us have a final comment from you, Coach.
Well, I'd just like to take my hat back off for this 1998 football team, and I talk about it's a real pretty ring that the guys designed and end up getting. But I want to just take my hat back off to that team again, and want to just say thanks to those young guys because they did the impossible. It made Tennessee State the first historic black college to win in a predominantly white conference. They set history all across the United States, and I think that was very important. The last thing is for the team that's coming up this year and the people, I'll tell the team this year that how they handle adversity is going to be very important.
And thank you, Coach. And of course, we'll be back with you again next week. Thank you and good morning.